Here's my hot take: macronutrients, micronutrients, vitamins, minerals. And I think we need to do the complete opposite. And this is literally bringing some tears to my eyes. What do I come back to when I get overwhelmed? It's that. Can we just appreciate how beautiful and vibrant this matcha latte is this morning? Hi guys, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Mollie Mason. I'm a holistic nutritionist and I am on a mission to help women show up for their brightest lives. If you want encouragement to stop fighting the war with your body, to find freedom in your wellness journey, you are in the right place. Hit subscribe below. Y'all, today we are getting down and dirty. We're doing a Q&A. I am answering your burning nutrition questions. I'm really excited to dive in. We're gonna kind of cover quite a few different topics. Okay, first one here, we're gonna do a fun one. Bethany asked, what's your go-to sweetener for baking and cooking, either liquid or granulated? There are three main sweeteners I use in my kitchen: maple syrup, coconut sugar, and honey. No questions asked, maple syrup is my favorite sweetener of all time. Maple syrup is truly God's gift to this earth. I love the flavor profile. It's robust in its flavor, but it's not so distinct that it's hard to pair with certain things or where it like overpowers. Like that's my thing with honey. I don't know, honey's just such a distinct flavor. I like honey paired with certain things, but as far as like using it in my matcha lattes, I don't want my matcha to taste like honey. Like this has maple syrup in it because to me maple syrup just like allows the matcha to be the main flavor, you know what I mean? I also really like coconut sugar, especially for baking. All three of these are great options because they're less processed. They actually like come from the earth, and obviously coconut sugar has been like somewhat processed to get the sugar out of the coconut, but maple syrup and honey are pretty unprocessed, but they all contain natural vitamins and minerals and even enzymes that come with the sugars that allow our bodies to process them. That's kind of one of my main rule of thumbs with nutrition. Okay, let's boil this down. What does nature provide? God knit such inherent wisdom into the way that he created foods, the way that he paired certain vitamins and minerals inside certain foods. Like there's a reason for those things. So those are my three go-tos. That being said, I do think it's important not to be fearful of sugar. Like cane sugar that grows from the sugarcane plant. We live in a culture that has demonized sugar, and I for sure think that too much processed sugars in every packaged food item is absolutely one of the biggest contributors to poor health in our world. But with that said, I think that raw organic cane sugar from the cane plant can be a great sweetener. Our bodies know what to do with it. Our bodies know how to process those sweeteners. My diet, especially our home, is pretty much free from almost all artificial sugars or even the natural calorie-free sweeteners like stevia, monk fruit, all that stuff. I know sometimes people expect that that's what I'm gonna say, that those are such great options. Those can actually cause a lot of damage to our hormones and our metabolism because our body is processing, like our brains are processing something sweet. It thinks we're getting something sweet, but then we're not providing that glucose. So it still causes our body to secrete insulin, and it's not great. Maybe that's more than you asked for. Don't be afraid of sugar. Focusing on real, natural, whole food sources of sugar in your diet, like fruit and then maple syrup, honey, those are great. I could for sure talk about sugar far too long, but let's move on. Okay, I love this one. Kristen asks, the more I dive into prometabolic eating, the more I hear about the importance of beef liver with a throw up emoji. What are your thoughts? Do you eat it? Take a supplement? If you do take a supplement, can you recommend a good brand that you like? Beef liver is amazing. There is a reason that you are seeing this a lot, Kristen, because it is a powerhouse. It is truly one of the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet. It's really high in vitamins and minerals that we struggle to get elsewhere in our diet, especially from plant foods. Things like folate, iron, copper, vitamin B, vitamin A. I like to think of beef liver as nature's multivitamin. Look, I totally understand the throw up emoji. I get that it can be really off-putting to think about consuming beef liver, like liver can freak us out, but it really shouldn't be. I want you to think about the fact that for the entirety of our human existence on this planet, we have hunted our food. We were really connected to the food that we ate, and we ate what is called nose to tail. And it just means that we consumed almost all parts of the animal. So we didn't just eat chicken breast. We used the bones to make broth. We consumed the skin and the hearts and all of these pieces because the nutrients in the chicken are in all these places. Now we just walk up to the supermarket and we buy a chicken breast and we don't think about where it's coming from. And so the thought of eating beef liver can freak us out, but it shouldn't. With that said, to be entirely honest with you, I have not even tried to dip my toes in actually cooking or consuming raw, real liver yet. I want to, I would love to. I know that it would actually be a lot cheaper for me to buy like grass-fed beef liver and cut it up into little cubes and take that as a vitamin instead of what I'm currently taking, which is a desiccated beef liver supplement. So if liver freaks you out, I get it. Like, I'm sitting here telling you I haven't even tried to cook with it yet. Honestly, I haven't figured out where I want to buy it. I would love to find a local ranch and farm that I could purchase it from locally. That's on my to-do list, but I haven't gotten around to it. So I will link for you guys below the brand that I take. I really like this brand. They use really high quality grass-fed beef, which is so incredibly important if you are gonna be taking really any consumption of animal products. Like, you really, really got to prioritize the quality of the meat. But desiccated beef liver is a great alternative if you're freaked out by the thought of like putting liver in some beef meatballs. I get it. So I will link my favorite supplement version for you guys down below. Let's see here, what's next? Okay, Anna asked, what is milk thistle for? So if you guys have seen any of my What I Eat in a Days, you've seen me share about my liver lover detox drink that I have every afternoon. And in that I take chlorophyll, milk thistle, and lemon juice. Milk thistle and chlorophyll both are great for liver support. Milk thistle specifically is an herb that is known for liver support. It helps the liver rebuild healthy, strong liver cells. In nutrition school, when I learned about the liver, it was often in relation to people with specific illnesses, but the truth is, like, for every human on the planet that processes glucose, that has hormones, the liver is so important. The reason why you see me talk about liver support so much, two main things that happen in your liver. One, your liver is the detox organ of your body. No matter how healthy you are, you're still exposed to a ridiculous amount of toxins in our modern world. Also, well, I guess I should say there's really three important reasons that I'm focused on liver support. Detox, glucose. Your liver is where glycogen is stored in your body. So when you don't eat, like when you sleep, for example, your body breaks down your glycogen stores that are saved in your liver for fuel. Like, your body needs glucose to function, and when it's not being supplied through the food that you're eating, it uses your glycogen stores in your liver. So having a healthy liver is really important for blood sugar regulation, metabolism. Also, a good amount of your thyroid hormone is converted in both your gut and your liver. If you know my story, you know that I have Hashimoto's, and specifically one of the issues I've had is not necessarily my thyroid hormone production, but my thyroid hormone conversion from T4 to T3, from the inactive form to the active form that my cells can actually use. Your liver is hugely important in supporting that conversion process. So the liver is amazing. Milk thistle is just a natural herb that supports a healthy liver function, and that's why you see me taking it on a daily basis to support those basic processes for my metabolism. Clearly, I'm not drinking this fast enough. You can see all of my matcha is settling at the bottom. Okay, here's a good one. How do I know that I have estrogen dominance in my body? A few signs to look for: heavy periods, breast tenderness, most of what we refer to as PMS symptoms, mood swings, fatigue, menstrual headaches, decreased libido is a huge one, bloating, even anxiety and depression. Unfortunately, estrogen dominance is incredibly common because, like I just said, we have a very toxic environment. We are exposed to what are called xenoestrogens everywhere. They are toxins that our body perceives as estrogen. They look very similar to estrogen in our body. They are in the beauty products that you lather on your skin. They are in the cleaning products that you clean your home with. They are in the plastics that your food is wrapped in the plastics that you heat your food in. I mean, seriously, they're everywhere. And even if you go through the process of trying to detox your home and your environment and your beauty products, like, you're still getting exposed to xenoestrogens everywhere. And this is one of the reasons why we see so many women these days struggling with thyroid issues, hormone issues, PCOS, endometriosis, like a lot of these crazy hormone issues, because we have been a generation that has grown up, like our entire development, on these xenoestrogens. I really feel like I could do a whole video, or honestly probably like an entire series, on hormones and hormone health and balancing your hormones. Let me know if you guys would be interested in that. I feel like I could honestly answer this question for like 25 minutes. So I'm gonna keep it simple. But those are signs to look for estrogen dominance. I do talk about this specifically in my Candida series, because unfortunately estrogen dominance is commonly linked to Candida yeast overgrowth. But if you do have estrogen dominance, a few things you can do to implement. One, liver support. So the Liver Lover detox drink that you see me taking daily. Also, you see me eating a raw carrot every single day. That's why. Raw carrots have this very specific fiber that helps our body detox excess estrogen. And the other huge thing when it comes to estrogen dominance is working on blood sugar regulation. So eat as soon as you wake up, within an hour, if not 30 minutes of waking. Eat every 2 to 4 hours max. Make sure every time you eat, you are pairing protein and a healthy fat with carbohydrates, so that helps to keep your blood sugar balanced. Those are 3 really big ways that you can attack estrogen dominance. Okay, Gija, maybe? I'm so sorry if I'm getting your name wrong. She said she's working on healing her gut, and she's asking if the collagen peptides in the adrenal cocktail will help with that, and she talks specifically about L-glutamine. Okay, so again, I have an entire playlist here on YouTube about gut health, so if you guys haven't watched some of those older videos, I can link that for you guys. I also have a gut health masterclass. It's a totally free 1-hour masterclass where I really dive into what Candida overgrowth looks like, why 90% of people have it, how to balance your microbiome, how it's connected to all of these different issues that people seem to have. So I'll link that for you guys below. That's always linked for you below if you want to check out that free masterclass. It's just an hour long, but it's loaded with information I know you guys will find really helpful. So those are resources you can definitely check out. But in a super brief synopsis right here in this Q&A, one of the reasons I am such a fan of collagen and L-glutamine is because they help support the rebuilding of the gut lining. So I like to describe your gut lining, think about like from your mouth all the way out your system, your entire digestive tract. Think of it as like a pipe, like a tube. Food goes in the pipe and it comes out on the other end, but your gut lining helps to do 2 things. It helps to keep the waste inside the pipe, but it also is supposed to allow the nutrients to leave the pipe, right? To get into your bloodstream and supply your body with macronutrients, micronutrients, vitamins, minerals, all the things that you're trying to extract from your food. Your microbiome, which are merely the hundreds of trillions of bacteria and fungi and protozoa and even viruses that live in this microbiome, is a part of your gut lining. Unfortunately, because of stress, poor diet, toxin exposure, medications, hormone treatments, overuse of antibiotics and antibacterial everything, we have done some serious damage to our guts. And oftentimes, a lot of us are struggling with what's called leaky gut. And that just means that we have caused holes in our gut lining that, instead of keeping waste in and nutrients out, these holes allow waste out as well. So we are getting food particles, toxins, all these things in our bloodstream that shouldn't be there. This is one of the main reasons why we see so many food sensitivities and allergies in people. You're not actually allergic to those foods. They're just particles of those foods that are not supposed to be in your bloodstream, floating around your body, and your body starts mounting an immune response to them. Again, this in itself could be a whole separate video as well, and I highly recommend, if you're interested in this topic, definitely check out my masterclass and of course my Kill the Yeast program, where I walk you through exactly how to heal this with a 14-day protocol. But yes, the answer to your question of the collagen in the adrenal cocktail, as well as in like everything that I eat, collagen and L-glutamine are both really supportive of rebuilding the gut lining. It's been a part of ancient diets for the entirety of human history. Again, going back to nose-to-tail eating, we used to consume a lot more collagen in our diets, both collagen and L-glutamine, which is just an amino acid. Glutamine specifically is what's called a conditional amino acid. So of the amino acids that create proteins, we have essential amino acids, which are ones that our body is incapable of producing on its own. So we have to consume those from our diets. Conditional amino acids are ones that our body can create from other amino acids, but we need it in high doses because we burn through it really quickly. So you really do need to have it in your diet. Collagen and L-glutamine are great for supporting the rebuilding and the strengthening of the gut lining, so you keep the waste in and the nutrients out. Okay, Kristen asked a really great question, and I don't think I've actually talked about this yet here on YouTube. Kristen asked about my thoughts on gluten. She said, really curious on your thoughts about sourdough bread. I had a functional medicine doctor tell me to go gluten-free last summer for my Hashimoto's. I've been trying homemade gluten-free sourdough, but gluten-free flour is so difficult to work with. Truth, Kristen. I've been tempted to just go organic and see how I feel, but I would love your opinion on whether or not it's worth trying. Okay. Let's talk about this. So I have celiac disease, the autoimmune version of a gluten allergy. I have been gluten-free for a decade, I think. I talked more about this in my healing journey video if you haven't watched that, if you want to hear more about my timeline of my health story. But I've been gluten-free for, yeah, I don't even know. I'd have to do the math. I think a decade. I think it was 2012. Yeah, it's been 10 years. Holy smokes, that's crazy. Here's my hot take on gluten. Do I think that everyone needs to be gluten-free? No. Do I think that most people should be mostly gluten-free? Yes, that's my answer to that, because let's break this down. Gluten is a protein found in wheat, barley, rye, and some oats. There's two reasons why people who don't have actual gluten allergies often seem to be sensitive to gluten. One, we've genetically modified the living crap out of our gluten, right? Like for the last however many generations, we have genetically modified our wheat to try to make it as durable and sustainable to modern agriculture as possible. And because of that, we've actually changed and altered the nature of the wheat protein. But the other reason is because we put gluten in everything. If you've ever gone gluten-free, you know, like gluten is everywhere because processed foods are loaded with it. One of the main reasons is because the protein of gluten actually helps a lot with the elasticity of baked goods. So this is why often gluten-free products suck. And this is why Kristen said she's tried experimenting with gluten-free sourdough and it's not the same. The whole reason is because it's the protein of gluten that helps to create the beautiful sourdough that mixes with the yeast and creates like what we know as sourdough. So I truly believe that the vast majority of gluten-filled products on the earth right now are crap for your system. Like they are very detrimental. That being said, I don't think that everyone needs to go gluten-free and give up gluten. And another important caveat of that is the fact that because gluten helps to create the texture of baked goods, most of the time gluten-free alternatives have a lot of additional gums and fillers and additives to make up for that, to try to create and mimic the texture of gluten. They've added all this junk and this crap, ruins our guts, and then our bodies are not meant to process. So I think that that's a super important thing to know. A lot of people just go gluten-free thinking that they're doing something good for their bodies, but they're choosing all these gluten-free alternatives that are just loaded with junk that destroy their guts and hurts their bodies even more than just eating simple ingredient bread. Now, the reason I like that Kristen brought up sourdough, one of the reasons that you'll see, especially in the pro-metabolic world, people promote sourdough as a better alternative to most processed bread products is because sourdough should be 3 ingredients, right? It's wheat, water, and yeast. The fermentation process of sourdough, where the yeast reacts with the gluten, with the wheat, it helps to break down the gluten into a form that is a lot more easily digestible by our bodies. So a lot of people who can't consume, they feel like they notice they don't do well with gluten products, can eat a gluten sourdough and be fine, because sourdough itself, the bread, has already done the work that your gut can't really keep up with doing. So the simple question of, do I think everyone needs to go gluten-free? No, but I do think that most people should give up the majority of gluten products. If you pay attention to your diet, I think that the majority of your diet should be gluten-free, besides some naturally occurring gluten products, like some oats. Oats typically, technically, most oats are gluten-free, and that's why gluten-free oats are often a thing, but there's lots of cross-contamination issues. So if you have celiac disease, that's why you have to get specific gluten-free oats, but that's a separate thing. It really comes down to just paying attention to ingredients. With that said, I think that a mostly whole food based diet that's really focused on filling your body with nutrient rich foods with bioavailable sources of protein and carbs and minerals. I think that gluten filled sourdough, like real true sourdough made with wheat, can be an amazing option. With that said, if you have Hashimoto's, I think generally the default should be gluten-free. I think that that should be one of the last things that you try and introduce after you've like reintroduced dairy and other foods if you're not currently eating them, and just really work to heal your body and your metabolism and your hormones. I think that that should kind of be one of the last things that you do, especially with Hashimoto's, because Hashimoto's looks in the body similar to celiac, where you have an autoimmune response to gluten. And so I think generally my default would be, if you have Hashimoto's, to stay away from even like the healthy, good, natural sourdoughs. But that being said, I think you can try it. It's kind of up to you to like feel that out, know where you're at in your body. If you feel like everything else is really balanced and healthy, maybe give it a go. I hope that that's helpful. I'd love to hear how many of you are gluten-free, if you've ever gone gluten-free, what your experience with gluten-free eating and shopping has looked like. I just think that that's a really important thing to remember. Like, unfortunately, people often go gluten-free thinking that they're doing something good for their bodies, when unfortunately those alternatives are often even worse. So keep that in mind. Okay, I am taking so long to answer these questions. This video is already gonna be like long. So there are more questions here. I'm trying to decide which of these I should actually dive into. Cassandra asked a really great question. She said, is there a video or a link where you go over people who have dairy issues? Most of my family has issues with dairy, and I hate that I'm the only one in the house who can consume dairy without feeling bad. Okay, I could talk about dairy for a long time. I'm gonna try to keep this brief. If you've watched any of my What I Eat in a Days, you've heard me talk about dairy a little bit recently, because I spent a lot of years being afraid of dairy and removing dairy from my diet. And I now consume, honestly, a lot of dairy. And it has been one of the most amazing things I've reintroduced to my diet. I feel incredible on dairy. The more and more that I've researched, like really healing the actual root cause of metabolism and hormone issues, the more that I realize that dairy is just an actual... Can you guys hear that? Of course, our ice machine is like dropping ice. I'm sorry if you hear that. The more that I realize dairy is just like a powerhouse. Dairy is amazing. What we see a lot with people who think that they have dairy sensitivities, leaky gut. So if that's the case, seriously, I'm gonna stop like plugging my own thing, but go check out my gut health masterclass, because I dive into this and I also walk you through step by step exactly how to heal this process in my Kill the Yeast program, which you'll learn about in the masterclass if you want to. The other important thing to talk about when it comes to dairy is the quality of dairy is so important. So we need to just take a step back and look at, what are we consuming? The way that the majority of the dairy that sits on the shelves in the grocery store is farmed is horrible. It's not how it's supposed to be. They're loaded up with antibiotics and all these growth hormones. They're not fed the diet that cows are supposed to eat, which is grass. Cows are ruminant animals. They have 4 stomachs. The way that cows process grass, that we actually can't process the way cows do because we only have 1 stomach. Cows are literally created to take grass in its form and extract the nutrients from it, which is one of the reasons that we are supposed to eat cows, because it's this amazing design that God created. The cows do the work for us. They extract the anti-nutrients that are in grass. They get the nutrients out, and then inside dairy, inside meat, inside collagen and pieces, liver of the cow, we can consume the nutrients that they did the work to extract. So 2 things, well, I just said a lot of things, but 2 other things with the quality of dairy, or just the dairy you're consuming. 1, is it conventional, farmed, loaded up with crap, fed grains and like literally, I mean, guys, some of these cows and pigs and like farmed animals are literally fed candy, like with like food dyes, and it's atrocious. It's terrifying. So are you eating that kind of dairy that is just like not the way it's meant to be? Also, what are you consuming that dairy with? A lot of times when we're thinking about dairy, we're thinking about like pizza, ice cream, like cheese, this really processed cheese. What is your actual dairy consumption looking like when you have an adverse reaction to dairy? I will say, if you want to reintroduce dairy to your diet, if you've been like dairy-free for a lot of years like I was, and you realize that dairy is just loaded with nutrients and it's so healing and metabolically supportive, and you want to add it back in, there are ways to do that slowly and methodically. First of all, you can start with goat and sheep because those are often just like easier for our body to digest. You guys have seen me share about Organic Valley. That's a brand that I really like that you can get at pretty much any grocery store that has quality grass-fed dairy. They even carry a lactose-free version, which could be great if you want to transition. Another great thing, I'm a huge fan of Parmesan Reggiano. As well as like a Pecorino Romano, some of those harder cheeses, or like cheddars, like aged sharp cheddars. Those harder cheeses are often easier than like drinking a glass of milk. So just like pairing a cheese with a fruit as a snack, that could also be a great way to reintroduce some dairy. It's possible. It's possible you are one of the few people in the population that like truly has a dairy allergy, but more than likely it's actually a bad gut, a leaky gut, and poor metabolism, and just bad dairy consumption. Okay, I'm gonna move on because I'm talking about dairy too much. Honestly, I don't even know. I don't even know how long I've been talking. I think I'm gonna wrap up with one last question. What are the nutritional basics you always come back to when you feel overwhelmed in life? I feel like this is a great one to end on. I think that's such a great question, Brooke. Thank you for asking it. I shared a video with 3 tips of how to eat healthy without dieting. And I feel like those are probably the same 3 tips that I would share right now. Give me an amen in the comments if you are just like,
I am so overwhelmed. There's so much information out there. I feel like one day I'm reading an article about how keto is like the best thing for you, and then I'm hearing that it's bad. And people are saying intermittent fasting is good for your digestion, but you're telling me to eat within an hour of waking. I don't even know where to start. I don't even know what to do.
I just want to encourage you to like stop and breathe. Just close your eyes. Hold your own heart and tell yourself like, I have what I need to make the right choices for my body. The Lord gave you everything that you need to navigate how to nourish the temple that He's given you to walk through this earth with. I think if we just like stop trying to chase the next thing, the next like fad, and we just learn to get still and listen to our bodies and tune in with our own bodies, how to understand the cues that they innately tell us, because truly like your body was designed with feedback to give you, to know what works for you and what doesn't. In this diet culture, we have become so disconnected from feeling that and understanding that and hearing those things and knowing how to respond to them. I mean, I don't know about you, but I truly spent a good 25 years of my life like trying to quiet those things, because that's what diet culture tells us to do. I can't trust my body. I need to like turn off my hunger cues and like force all these noises down. And I think we need to do the complete opposite. We need to like learn to turn up the cues of our body, get in tune with them. I could give you a million nutrition tips on how to heal your hormones and your metabolism and all these things, and I will continue to do that. But I think that question of asking like, what do I come back to when life gets crazy? Like, what do I come back to when I get overwhelmed? It's that, and that's what I would encourage you to focus on. Just like coming back to yourself, to your body, coming from a place of love. I have another video on this specifically. When you can stop trying to make nutritional choices and food choices and exercise choices and lifestyle choices from a place of trying to change your body and treating your body like a project that needs to be fixed and manipulated into this image of what you want it to be, when you can set that aside and come at your body from a place of love and honor and believe that you can nourish your body, this body that you have, whatever it looks like in whatever season it's in, like it is a gift and it is a joy for me to get the opportunity every day to wake up and feed it and nourish it and fuel it. And this is literally bringing some tears to my eyes because this truly changes everything. Like, it changes everything. I know I heard someone telling me this on the other side of a YouTube video many times when I was stuck in diet culture, and I was like, yeah, that's easy for you to say, and like not understanding how to actually apply it. But when you can really work through that to get to the other side, actually coming at your food and your life and your body from a place of love, it truly changes everything. And I think that's what allows you to then approach your body from a place of understanding and tuning in to your own intuition and listening to it. And with that, to wrap this all up, I really want to say my hope and prayer, the prayer that I pray every time I create content for you guys and put a video out there, I really hope that in whatever information I share with you, what you get is the empowerment and encouragement to love your own body, that you learn to fall in love with caring for yourself, that you see your body as a gift, and that in whatever nutrition information I'm providing you, I'm equally encouraging you to shift your mindset and focus on the power of your thoughts and your mind. That really is my prayer when you interact with me here with my videos. Like, I hope that you walk away after every video with a smile on your face saying, loving my body is a gift, and I am inspired and encouraged to make choices that honor my body today. All right, if you enjoyed this video, please do take the time to give it a little thumbs up down below, leave a comment, share it with a friend who you know needs it. Y'all, those things really do mean so much to me as a new YouTuber. I really am on a mission to help change the way women experience their bodies, and y'all supporting these videos is truly one of the best ways you can help me on that mission of building a generation, a tribe of women who love their bodies and experience freedom in them and empower other women in the same thing. It really does mean a lot. Also, let me know in the comments below if you liked this Q&A style video, and with that, if you have questions you'd like me to answer in future ones, down below in the comments would be a great place to leave those questions. Maybe I'll try to be more succinct in my answers. I just want to be thorough, you know? Like, I just want to make sure I'm really answering these questions well for you. Brevity is not my strong suit. We probably all know that by this point, but I hope this encouraged you. Thanks for being here. I will see you guys next week. Bye.